going on, vinyl community and Kiss Army? Welcome to another video with the Record Spinner. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing the Kiss Destroyer 50th anniversary Kiss Online exclusive 7-inch singles. So this year, 2026, is a rather big year to celebrate Destroyer because it is indeed the album's 50th anniversary. And even though we already got the 45th anniversary Super Deluxe box set 5 years ago in 2021, there's been enough going around to make us fans feel celebratory this year. Obviously, in true Kiss Online fashion, we had the 50th anniversary vinyl drop, which featured colored vinyl, a picture disc, as well as a liquid-filled record. We have Ken Sharp's book coming out at the end of the year. And of course, Eddie Kramer has mixed the Anaheim show from the multi-tracks for Kiss Destroyer's Anaheim 76. And on top of that, Kiss Online did a series of 7-inch reissues of all the singles from Destroyer and utilized some different picture sleeves from around the world, pressed them on colored vinyl, and of course bundled them with merchandise that I don't know if most of us need, but I did get my hands on all of them, and I figured I would do a fun little showcase video, just a simple kind of flip the camera around, showcase the singles and the details on the jackets, the vinyl, the labels, and also cross-reference them with other copies that I have of those singles in my vinyl collection. So it'll be a fun little deep dive comparing and contrasting. But anyways, enough of the chit chat. Let's jump into what this video was all about. And just like so, I will be switching angles. Okay, so let's dig into some vinyl. Starting things off with Shout It Out Loud, backed with Sweet Pain. So here is the copy that appears in the Casablanca singles box set. Features a great shot of Gene and Ace sharing the mic. And as you can tell, this references the Japanese pressing of the single. You get some Japanese text on the left here, and the English translations to the lyrics for Shout It Out Loud. I have not double-checked to see if these are accurate, because if there's one thing that you know about Japanese pressings, is that the English translations of lyrics can often be comical. I'll have to double-check that. And comes on the blue Bogart label. Nice, bright, kind of silvery text there. And as you'll tell later on in this video, the labels will surely change and evolve. So that's the Japanese version of Shout It Out Loud. And then in 2021, we got this, which is the 45th anniversary edition of the Shout It Out Loud single exclusive to Kiss Online. And this uses the Denmark picture sleeve, which, as you can tell, is just a black and white rendering of the Destroyer artwork, just kind of cropped against a black background with orange text. This I honestly really do like. And the back cover promotes 16 super hits. So it's funny, back then when you got your Kiss single, you had an advertisement pushing ABBA and the Bay City Rollers. What a time to be alive in the 70s. And I absolutely love the vinyl of this single. And this comes pressed on kind of what I like to call like solar flare colored vinyl. It's basically an overall sort of orange and reddish kind of blend. And it still comes on the blue Bogart label there. And a little fun fact, you can't really tell in the dead wax, but the metal parts used for this single were just recycled from the Casablanca singles box set. So, little fun fact, a little bit of a dead wax minutia to kind of feast your eyes and ears on. And then, let's dig into the 50th anniversary edition of the single. And here it is right here, and this is the picture sleeve from the Netherlands, which uses a photo outtake from the first album cover photo shoot. And as you can see, they kind of add some spot varnishing there on the front. And basically, the front and back are pretty much the same. The only thing that distinguishes the two is the copyright information in the bottom right corner. And let's take a look at what the vinyl looks like. So it comes in these black paper sleeves. And here it is. And I do have to say, you really have to look at some of these pressings up close in person near the light to really bring out the quality. And as you can tell, this comes pressed on sort of gold and purple smoke translucent vinyl with some glitter. It really does shine and looks really sharp. Very cool stuff on that gold Bogart label, as I like to call it. And also throughout this video, I am going to reference what each of these singles were bundled with. So in the case of Shout It Out Loud, this was actually bundled with a pullover hoodie that you had to purchase. Now, If you bundle an album with a hoodie, that's one thing, but bundling a 7-inch with a hoodie, that was a bit of a stretch personally, and I really had to get my arm twisted to purchase this. I was so close to just kind of boycotting it because that was just too much. But then my girlfriend saw the hoodie and she's like, oh, I kind of like it. I'd wear it. And I was like, well, that kind of gives me confidence to buy it. So be thankful, all you guys out there who have significant others, to wear your Kiss merch when you don't want it. So that's how I got my hands on this 7-inch here. Now moving on to Flaming Youth backed with God of Thunder. So here is the picture sleeve that was released in the US. Basically just the Destroyer artwork with the title airbrushed out, and it says Flaming Youth instead. And here is the back cover promoting other Kiss albums and tapes that were available at the time. Honestly, I love this back cover. It's simple and no frills. It kind of reminds me of the gatefold spread of Kiss Alive, how it says more Kiss and it pushes the other studio albums. I just love little touches like that. And this comes pressed on the blue Bogart label there. And then as for the 50th anniversary edition, we have kind of the same thing. So here is the Japanese picture sleeve, as you'll see here, which honestly doesn't look much different to the US version, with the exception of this yellow satch going across the jacket. It has some red Japanese text, which is indeed spot varnished. And honestly, I kind of would have preferred to see the German picture sleeve for Flaming Youth, which is bright and colorful, has a great live shot, but instead they opted for this. So here you have more Japanese text and English lyrics. And let's take a look at the vinyl. So here, gold Bogart once again, and this comes pressed on sort of metallic purple with gold colored vinyl. It kind of reminds me of how the 50th anniversary colored vinyl version of Destroyer looked when that came out. So it kind of follows that same sort of hue, and as you can tell there on the labels, they add the Japanese text there, which is very cool. And with this single, they bundled it with a special Flaming Youth t-shirt, which just kind of recycled the Destroyer artwork, which if I didn't have the Destroyer t-shirt in my collection, I would have probably jumped on it. But again, I showed it to my girlfriend. She liked it. She got the shirt. One and done. So, moving on to Detroit Rock City backed with Beth. So here is the version from the Casablanca singles box set. Again, another shot of Gene and Ace there on the front. More text and lyrics there on the backside. And get ready for this. It comes on the Tan/Caspa label. Now, at this point, this is when the labels transition from the blue Bogart, and the first Kiss album that we would see with this label would be Rock and Roll Over, but back when they were churning out singles for Destroyer, that's when they put this label into effect. So remember that facet. That's pretty much the standard going forward. At least you'd think when I show you guys the rest of the 50th anniversary singles. So moving on to the 50th anniversary version, here is the German picture sleeve here, which features some early shots of the guys circa 1974. Spot varnishing there for the song title. And the back has some advertisements for other artists on the Casablanca roster at the time, such as Angel and Parliament, which is cool. And here is the vinyl. Now this kind of, I guess you could say, is kind of like metallic gold colored vinyl. Has a slight ripple effect towards the dead wax. It's very bright. Kind of looks like honeycomb almost. It looks awesome. Very cool stuff. Now, this single was actually bundled with a t-shirt that you actually saw me wearing in the beginning of the video, which is like an army green sort of hue, and it has the Destroyer album cover implanted inside the Kiss logo, which personally I really like. That's actually lifted from a repro of the Canadian promo poster that's actually included in the Destroyer 45th anniversary box set. I just love the way that logo works, and it looks like the album cover just perfectly fits within the logo. So I liked it for that reason. So I was like, okay, there's another Destroyer t-shirt to add to my collection. Or I should say a Detroit Rock City shirt, I should add. And then, last but not least, in this case with the singles, the A and the B sides of Detroit Rock City and Beth were flopped. So instead, now we have Beth backed with Detroit Rock City. So here is the German picture sleeve here, which has a sort of photo collage of live shots that was just strictly taken from the Kiss Alive booklet. It's the same across on both sides. And again, tan label. And then for the 50th anniversary version, we have this again. So it's literally just the Destroyer album cover, title airbrushed out with some basic typeface. This is actually the Italian picture sleeve, which based on my research, it's between the Italian picture sleeve and the German picture sleeve back when they flopped the sides. So you work with what you got. Now, this was actually the only single that was available by itself, and you didn't have to buy any merch. It was bundled with actually a denim tote bag, and I kind of thought about getting that because I don't have any Kiss tote bags, but I just decided to get the single by itself. It was kind of interesting how they had that as an option. And I also should note, too, that the center label for the Italian pressing comes with this sort of custom label for the Durium label that this is released on. And instead, they just went ahead and opted for the gold Bogart once again. So they kind of kept it unison across the board. Now, this I really like. This is like metallic gold with some like red and blue kind of mixed in there. You can kind of see it, but it looks really awesome. See, you get more red on this side. It looks absolutely stunning. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to be doing this same sort of single reissue treatment for the singles from Rock and Roll Over or Love Gun coming up. But nonetheless, Destroyer is a very important album for Kiss, and it is great to see them recognize the singles with this special reissue campaign so you can get these singles back in your record collection. All right, so now that we got the vinyl out of the way, I want to touch on something that is either coincidental or maybe I had my pulse on something. I don't know. So this year's Record Store Day in 2026 stands out for being the first of its kind that we got a Kiss Record Store Day release. And that was of a reissue of a special Kiss Tour album, a 4-track EP that was distributed to radio stations as a means of hyping up the Destroyer/Spirit of 76 tour. Now, prior to that, there were some murmurings of a Kiss Record Store Day release that got scrapped. And what I'm about to tell you guys is the only information out there that exists about this thing. So around the time of the Casablanca singles box set, which came out around 2012, there was an idea to take the 4 singles from Destroyer and package them together, but use different picture sleeve art that wasn't used in the box set. And for some reason, it fell through and it never happened. So I took that idea. I did a whole video about this on my YouTube channel if you want to peel back and check that out. That I decided to have some fun, mock up a potential sort of slipcase box that this could have came packaged in. And I also went about picking different picture sleeves than what was included in the Casablanca singles box. And when this 50th anniversary Kiss Online exclusive 7-inch series was done and over with, I had realized that they had used all but one picture sleeve that I had chosen for my fun little hypothetical what-if video. The only thing that they didn't use was the German picture sleeve for Flaming Youth, which, as I had mentioned, I probably would have preferred just because you can only see the Destroyer Ken Kelly album cover so many times. But it kind of leaves me wondering if maybe Universal went back into their archives and chose whatever things they had mocked up for that release that never happened for this series to make it a reality. Who really knows? It's just something that I wanted to make mention of. But there you guys go. That is my showcase of the Kiss Destroyer 50th anniversary Kiss Online exclusive 7-inch singles. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning.